Alright, so where we last left off, I left you off on a cliffhanger. Yes. Big baby boy. But, so, Deku, he had finished putting on the clothing and everything, but he hasn't finished putting on, a mask that I say he has, just in case he runs into somebody. Just in case he runs into somebody that he knows. And, Kirishima, she comes out, like, right as he's putting on his mask. But, so, Deku, oh wait, I just realized I wasn't on the picture, but, Deku, he's looking straight at her, and, like, everybody knows about Killer 7. But, his hoodie wasn't up, I'm gonna say. And, like, he just then pulled out, the freaking hair tie that holds his hair up. And he just says, He's just laughing. He just says, it's really funny. One of us has a boyfriend and the other is a killer. It's hilarious. He leaps up and then disappears. This man, he claimed he went to the Killers Association he grabbed 132 missions, and they're like, nigga, hold up, even you can't do that many in one night. And he says, watch me, I have an axe to grind. And they're like, okay, but decided to pee in his coffee this morning. Like, and then Plum Blossom nigga, he just pull up and he says, oh, him had a crush on this girl. And if you're wondering, he has split personality disorder. And he just says that to them, and they're just like, So, what about him? He had a crush on this girl named Kirishima. Named Ejiro Kirishima. She has a boyfriend. And he liked her. So he's kind of pissed. And they're like, ooh, yeah, I can tell when we go to clean up the bodies, it's not gonna be pretty. He just says, yep, day form him is like soft and weak. So all the rage from day form him gets transferred into night form him. And that man is very mad, okay? Like, normally he's just like, why? Like, why do I put up with you guys? Like, why? Like, still funny and lackadaisic. But right now, he's just gonna feel too. But yeah, so this man, he go and he just popping off. Like, that's just what he doing. But yeah. So, he's just, yeah, he's that type of nigga. Yeah. But, should I get some of that stuff? Nah. Okay, that was unexpected. So... Okay, nigga, hold up. So... Skip it. Nope. Not going through that crap. So... This nigga, he go... And he just killing. And then he looks at one of the missions. Like, it's the second to last mission. He realizes, hey, this is a bounty for one of those servants or whoever that lives at Kirishima's house. Maybe I should kill that Todoroki nigga. But, Deku, he then goes and he's just like on top of the roof. And he just says, so everybody's having a sleepover at her place. If I would have just stayed. Like snapping back to like day him for a minute. He says, no, she made up her choice. Well, yeah, we know that. It's howling at like 47 miles an hour. I went out there like 5 minutes ago. Like, my feet flipped out from under me and I fell. Felt like I almost cracked my head open. Good thing I landed in the grass. But, so, Deku, he just goes into, the house, and he's just like, not through the front door, but, like, through the skylight that was open, 'cause, yeah. So, Deku, he's just kind of like, alright, so where's this guy? Oh, he's the chef. Oh, wait. Mr. Rocco? Oh, this'll be a cinch. He's an old man. Plus, whatever he did, he got on the association's bad side. And plus, I'm the number 2 killer in the world. What do you want me to do? He's right behind the number 1. Like, in strength terms, like, of overall power, like, the number 1 killer hasn't beat by, like, just a little bit. Because that man has, like, a all-around defense quirk. So, like, he doesn't feel pain or, like, anything like that. And a regeneration quirk. And a super strength quirk. And a super speed quirk. Yeah. But, this man does have, like, a bunch of different abilities. So, like, he can go invisible. He can teleport. He can do a lot of stuff. Like, a lot. And so, he says, "Hi, Mr. Rocco." He's like, "Oh, Izuka? You're Killer 7? He just says, "Yeah, have been for my entire life. Started out when I was pretty young." Let's just have a chat for a bit. I hate this, you know. He says, "What, being an assassin?" He says, "Oh no, I love that. Just the feeling that I'm having right now. That's what I hate." He said, what kind of feeling? Like, the feeling that you would want to kill me?" He says, "No, I still have some anger that I want to get out." It's because she's with some random rich person. Who's she? And he just says, "Kirishima." He's like, "You know, I could show you something that would lighten you up a bit." And he just says, "Yeah, like what?" "The perfect meal." And he just says, "Nonsense. You've been working your entire life for that. There's no way you could have finally figured it out. He says, but I did. And the man just goes and he says, bullshit. And I won't say it again. Bullshit. And he just says, no, I'm serious. I legit couldn't figure it out until I did. It's a mixture of all of your favorite foods. And he says, thanks. And he's just eating it and he's like, all the flavors go together just fine. Thanks. And he just said, you know, it's perfectly fine if you kill me, Izuku. I've done a lot of bad things. He just says, I know that. That's why I was sent here. And it's the only reason why I'm ever sent anywhere. But yeah, so he just says, alright, let's get this over with. And he just says, alright. He pulls out a pair of scissors and he says, what, you're not going to use your sword? He says, no. With my sword, it'd be kind of disgraceful for you. The sword would corrode your body. There'd be nothing left. But if I just do this, you'll be gone and you'll still have a body to put in the casket. Okay. He then has the scissors slice the old man's neck. Raku. A single tear rolls down that man's cheek. And he just says, thank you. You're like a father to me. Because Deku, day form, he learned how to cook from that man. That man taught him how to do everything. But yeah. And so Deku, he just says, that went a lot better than expected. He disappears, and then, like, they, in, like, Kaminari, Kirishima, Todoroki, and Hagakure, they all hear a loud thud come from the kitchen, and they're like, I wonder what that could be. They went in there to check it out. They see Raku just dead. And, like, they're all, like, freaking out. They're like, oh my god, it's a dead body. Deku, he's just on top of the building, and he just says, one last contract. I will have made, what, 7 billion by the end of tonight? God, what am I gonna spend all that on? But yeah. So yeah. But yeah. So Deku. He goes, and the thing is to kill another government official, because he's like, I've been having to kill a lot of government officials lately. I wonder why that is. Like, what they do? Borrow too much money from us? But yeah. And Deku, he goes and he has to kill the Deku. He's just like, I've had to kill a lot of you government officials lately. So shut up and die for me. Just straight up. Cuts his head off. Like, he straight up dices the man into several pieces with 1,000 demon daggers. And he just says, and he just goes, he's just like, Deku, he just says, that's done. And then he just leaves. And then Kirishima, in the morning, she says, so are you Killer 7? He says, no. The other day, that was for, please don't laugh at me. And she just says, I'll watch that in a minute. That one, he just says, that was for a book signing. And she was like, huh? He just says, well, I basically took Killer 7 and turned him into a hentai protagonist. And she's like, you did what? You turned a professional killer into what? Into a hentai protagonist. And the man is just like, preparing for the bombardment. And she's like, no, I would actually like to read this. And she's like, no, no. Because, he made the, heroine her. Like, legit. You will never see it. You will never find it. Stay away from the internet. She typed in Scissor 7 hentai on her phone, and she says, "Is this it?" And he says, "Don't you dare!" She, like, took one look at it, and she's like, she blushed so hard. He's like, shit. Hey, I have a stomachache. I have to go. The man ran like Super Mario. And then she says, "I have a fever. I'll be going to the nurse's office." She goes to the nurse's office. That man, he's hiding under one of the beds, and he's just like, the man's hyperventilating. And then she realized what he did, and she's just like, like, she's mad. She's like, happy that his art is like God tier, and that he got her parameters right. By the way, her size is a K cup. Yeah, you heard me, a K. As a middle school student, she has a K cup. Yeah. Dear God. But, she's, like, really, really, like, mad at him. And she, like, sees one of his feet, like, poking out from under the bed. And she, like, grabs it. And he's like, oh, shit. Like, no, I don't have time for this. She tries to pull him out. And she, like, pulls out a, freaking, CPR dummy. Those guy bags come in handy. But, yeah. So she's just like, he probably left. I'm gonna go find him at his house. And she, like, had left. The man then goes back on a normal. He's like, okay, time to make a break for it. Just stay away from home. Go to her part-time job. Go there. Hopefully she doesn't go there. So the man, he goes to a McDonald's. If you get the reference, you get it. It's to The Devil is a Part-Timer. I love that anime. Also, let me know if there's a dub. Because if so, I want to know who decides to do voice acting for that man. And if not, why is there not a dubbed? Well, I mean, there is an abridged series, which I watched all of, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Also, I have a project for some people. Okay. So, as we all know, people love abridged series. I want to do abridged Scissor 7. Like, the episodes are already short enough, so we'll just be doing, like, a raw recording, like, funny crap. Like, just think of funny stuff and just do it. Like, even if it's, like, completely out of proportion, just do it. But yeah, if anybody wants to volunteer for that, let me know in the comments. Yeah. So, Deku? He's just like carrying like, well, welcome to McDonald's. What would you like for today? And she's like, your head. And he's like, I know that voice. Crap! She's like, hey, Chio-chan, take over here for a minute. I gotta run. And she's like, huh? This suddenly? He's like, yes! The man just darts. And she's like, get back here! You idiot pervert. He's just like, I am not a pervert. I just know your exact measurements. There's nothing wrong with that. And she's just like, then how'd you know I had a K-cup? He just says, no reason. And plus, I can tell. But, anywho. So, alright, so, after this, we time skip 2 years. But, so, sorry, but, Deku, but yeah, so time skip 2 years. They're at the end, of middle school. She still hasn't told him anything. Like, she didn't tell him that she actually loved him. Or that, it was a fake marriage. She just felt that he would hate her either way. And Deku, he just became more and more distant to the group. Or no, it's only been a year. And so they're in their 3rd year now. And she just says, I haven't talked to him in, a year and a half? Even though we sit right next to each other. And, like, this man's hair had gotten, longer. So, he does look like this now. But, his rage, recently, has just been swelling. So much to the point where the seal that he placed on himself is hardly working anymore. The man, he can't contain himself. It's getting really hard. Even though all he did during summer break was go on assassination missions. No rest or anything. He still just feels the urge to kill. Simple as that. Like, and like she taps him on the shoulder and he says, "What the hell do you want?" And she's like, "Hey, Zuko, I noticed that we were kind of sort of growing distant, and we've been childhood friends, so I was wondering if you..." He immediately shoots her down. He says, "No, I want nothing to do with you or anybody else. Now shut up and don't bother me." And she was like, kind of like, well, like, she kind of said. And she says, "Look, I don't care what happened. Like, can't we just still be friends?" He's just like, "Shut up." And she's like, "No, I won't. Now give me an answer." He just says, and like, she just keeps hounding him like, "Why are we growing close, like, farther apart? And like, why do you act like you hate everybody? Why are you acting like this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" This man, he really just, he just says, "Fine, you want a freaking answer? Alright then." Suck on your boyfriend's dick. 'Cause, one, you obviously didn't even care enough to tell any of us in the group. Two, you didn't even tell me. So why should I care about you? And plus, I'm moving away soon, so there's no reason for us to be friends, or for any of us to even know each other. So shut up and do your work, random person. And like, she starts crying, and then like she runs out, and he just don't care. Like, his eyes are just permanently red. They will be for a minute. Like, sorry, did I say for a minute? I mean for the rest of this nigga's life. And like, Plum Blossom dude, he's like starting to notice like, hey, he's like permanently staying in night form. And so when he heads to the Zhuanmu's killer base, he's just like, "Hey, why have you been staying in your night form all the time?" And he just says, "Damie won't come out anymore. He's too heartbroken over that girl. So I had to break her heart and tell her how he was feeling. And plus, I'll be in control for a while." He really, really won't talk to anybody. He doesn't care anymore, quite simply put. that girl was his entire world, and she shattered it. So it's her fault that we're like this right now. And she was like, or no, and he's like, to think you of all people would get this torn over a girl. And he says, shut up. I'm not. He is. And he says, yeah, sure. You know, it's fine if you show emotion. Nobody's going to blame you. And he says, I don't care if they blame me, I'll blame myself for being weak enough to do so. And he's just like, kid's a real piece of work. And so, Plum Blossom 13, they say, so I hear you'll be moving soon. And she goes, huh? He'll be moving soon? What do you mean? And he says, yeah, I'm moving to Japan permanently. Why do you ask? I'll still be able to carry out missions. After all, we have a base over there. It's not like anything's gonna change. And they say, your personality will. And he says, in what way? And they say, maybe you'll become kinder, maybe you'll become worser, who knows? He just says, I'll stay the way I am. I'll hate everything, and everything will hate me. Simple. So then, he goes to school the next day. And he just says, alright, people. I gotta go to the airport. I'm gonna catch a plane. I'll see y'all never. Go eat a dick. You especially. Points to Kirishima. He says, alright, peace. He just dips. Like, he done. Like, the man is done, okay? Like, simple. And, alright, now we're in Japan. So, he finishes his last year of middle school at the middle school with Bakugo and everybody, and they're all like, he's probably weak. Bakugo, he says, fight me, and he says, are you prepared to die then? He says, like you could even lay a scratch on. He had already put his hand around Bakugo's throat. And he says, I could squeeze your head off if I want. Maybe I'll do that. Or just break every bone in your body. So he just says, you know what? I'll just break every bone in your body. That sounds fun. Straight up. Jojo. Jojo. But, so, Deku, he goes, and he's just like, you people are annoying. And like, again, like all the characters from Zhuanwu. So, Kirishima, Hagakure, and, Todoroki. They all moved to Japan during, the 10 months. Deku, he's just training. So that way he can get in. So that day him can come out during the day because he's tired of it, while being in control fully all the time, because he feels like it's tiring because people get on his nerves. Just kidding. No, he's just getting in for personal benefit, so that way nobody thinks it's suspicious. Because the man has all that power. What do you want him to do with it? Anyway. So, he goes. He's like walking to the entrance. And then, Kaminari, Hagakure, and Kirishima, they all spot him. Kirishima, she runs up to him, and she slaps him. He says, "Huh, who are you?" And she says, "Don't play dumb with me, you asshole." He says, "Who are you calling an asshole? You patronizing bitch." And Kaminari's like, "Did we miss something?" Like, last time I remembered, he had a crush on her. And his eyes were black, not red. And he just says, "Hey." And then, Todoroki, he punches the man with an ice fist. He says, "You won't talk to my girlfriend that way," because they actually, like, develop feelings for each other. And he just didn't do anything. He just stood there. And he says, "Seems like another dumbass wants to die." I was just thinking of the word, like, what to call him? Fucker, bitch, cocksucker. Like, what to call? And, like, the man was carrying out a bunch of kill orders. Like, legit. One for all will go to Kirishima. Because, yeah. And so, Deku, he was supposed to take on a mission from All For One, and All For One said that he would contact him when he wanted him to take on the mission. And so, he was just like, "Alright, nigga. Okay, sure." And so, after Deku finished the, written test, he got a call, and he was like, "Oh, it's him." He says, "Yeah, shit for brains. What do you want?" He says, 1, don't call a client that. 2, I want you to kill what person in that room? Like, no, not him saying what person in that room. I'm thinking of a person like, who? Not Mineta. Kendo. I want you to kill that Kendo girl. He was like, alright, sure. But how much you paying me? And he did get a job transfer, so he does still work at the McDonald's. But he then walks up to the Kendo girl. He says, hey, you, I have a question. But let's step outside real quick. And she's like, okay, sure. And he just says, do you know what death feels like? And she's like, no, that's weird. The man was straight up choking her. He had his hands around her neck, and he just pulled out his key control scissors. He sliced open her gut, shoved her face in it, and collapsed her like a cardboard box. He just called him and he said, it's done. Quit bothering me now. I have a test to take. The man gets first on the entrance exam. So yeah. Alright, first day of class. No. Got to his job at the McDonald's. He was just working. And then, Suyu, Ochako, Kirishima, Todoroki, Bakugo, and Kaminari all come in. And Deku, he's just blowing bubbles with bubble gum. And he just looks at them and he says, how may I take your order? And they're just like, with a grain of salt. He's like, okay, here's a couple salt packets, be on your way, that's $3.50. And they're like, this motherfucker's literal. And she just says, no, this isn't what I want. I'll take a number 2, a 3, a 4, and 3 different 5s. And she says, one with only mayonnaise, the other plain, and then the last one with everything on it. He says, alright, I'm hearing plain everything, and a side of bitch I don't give a shit to go. Because if so, here. Gives them their food, flips them off, tells them to suck a dick. And he says, alright, that's the end of my shift. Alright, peace. Mirako, I'm taking that you can handle the rest. Because I'm gonna say Mirako works there too. Like, even though she's a hero, she also has, like, a side job. Because, yeah. But, yeah. So, Deku, the man, he goes and he walks over to Sorry. I had to do something. But yeah, I'm back. So, he just walks out through the back. And he just yawns. And, like, all of them, they corner him in the alley. And they say, "Why'd you treat us like that?" And he says, "'Cause screw you, that's why. Now, if you don't mind, I have things to do." And they go, "Like what, be a dickhead?" And he says, "I don't have time for this bullshit. I suggest you move." And then Todoroki, he makes an ice wall behind them. He says, "No, don't think we will." And Deku, he's starting to get pissed off. And he says, "I'm starting to get pissed. Now shut up and quit bothering me." And then, Killer 13, she pops up and she says, "Hello, 7. He says, "Oh, hey, 13. What are you here for?" And she says, "Oh, nothing. Just order from boss." He says, "Tell them to get that I heard it. And tell them to not bother me while I'm dealing with business." And she says, "What, this job or the other job that you do at night?" He says, "The other job." And she says, "I hardly see how this acquires the killing." Like, under her breath. And he just says, "Don't worry about it." And she's like, "Whatever, shit for brains." And he's like, "Shut up." And she's like, "Alright, well, peace." She did. He'll look at it and he's like, "Alright, peace. I have things to do." That man, he just jumped, run along the side of the wall. So, wall running acquired. And flips onto the ground. And he's just running. But yeah. And then he teleports to the top of a building. He throws on his assassin clothes. And he just says, "Alright. So who was it?" A guy named Mineta? A guy named Mineta? Oh yeah, I think he was in the exam with me. And, Decker, he's just like, what a bother. And it was like posted by the Island Purities Association. If you know them, then you watch Scissor 7. She's like, yeah. Just do the freaking mission. But, yeah. So, this man, he straight up teleported in. He's like, "Oh, so you're just a normal, average teenage boy?" He's like, yep. I see no reason to kill you. Plus, they were only offering 50 yen. So, I'm good. Alright, peace. And Mineta actually thought this man had left. No, not by a long shot. This man, he pulled out the 1,000 demon daggers, stabbed it through Mineta's heart, and he just said, "Ha," and then cut off the man's head. He brought it to the Island Purity Association, and he was like, "Here. Alright, I'll take that $50. Thank you." He then went to go buy groceries, because he lives by himself after all those years of torture by his mother. But yeah, this is where I'm gonna end it off. Just kidding. Alright, so, first day, the man gets first place and everything. And like Todoroki, he says, "How can such a shithead be so good?" He says, "After dying over 1,000,000 times, you start to get the gist of it." And they're like, "Heh." And he says, "You all heard me." But, alright. Heroes versus villains. Deku and Kirishima versus Todoroki and Bakugo. He just says, "I have to work with you." Why, oh why? And she's just like, "I don't like working with you either." And he's just like, agreed. Let's just get this over with. He teleported to Todoroki and Bakugo. He grabbed them both by the back of their necks and put them both in a coma. And then he snapped his fingers. They came out of it. Just as quick. He's just like, "Alright, done." And like, All Might's just sitting there baffled, like, she has one for all, and yet she seems so weak compared to him. And also, how do you know where to strike without killing them? Like that. That's a skill that only assassins would have, knowing every weak point in the human body. That's weird. And then, freaking, she starts yelling at them, saying, like, she starts yelling at him, saying, like, "You could have showed a little more restraint, blah, 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 blah." He's just like, "Shut up, you Protestant whore." Like, the fuck? And she's just like, "No, I will not." He just says, "Shut up, you daft cunt." And they're all just like, "Why is he speaking to a lady that way? Like, he has horrible manners." And like, Momo, she says, "He has horrible manners, and I don't like the way he speaks to women. So, nobody gets MVP." And he just says, "Alright, fine by me." He kicks back and relaxes. Simple as that. So, anywho, time for the museum. Museum. The USJ. So, deku. The man goes, and he's just like, why? Do I have to deal with all of these villains by myself? And then, like, wait, you're not actually thinking of, he just says, shut up and let a killer do his job. And they're just like, huh? He just says, guess there's no use hiding it. He just says, nope. He just holds up his hand. The 1,000 demon daggers comes to him. His sword. And then his drip just automatically comes on. He's just like, that's better. He just starts walking down. And they're just like, that's Killer 7. And he just says, yeah, what about it? Want me to kill you too? 'Cause I have no problem with it. Hey, Kirishima, you wanted something funny? Bet you never knew I had split personality disorder, now did you? 'Cause the me that you saw every day since kindergarten was day me. What you're seeing, and what you've been seeing for the past 3 years, has been night me. Night me was the one that kills, and still is. Day me was a soft pussy ass bitch. And then you murdered him. You got rid of him. You left him in the sand to rot. So don't you dare say anything about this. You got rid of our humanity. So shut up and accept what you've done. But yeah. So they're all just like, wow. Alright, I'm done. Peace.